Hello, thank you so much for joining us for another HRAI webinar. This time we are proudly co-presented by the Ontario Refrigeration and Air Conditioning Contractors Association, or ORAC for short. And you can see we have a familiar face next to me. I'll introduce her in just a second, but you are tuning in to how many dollars are in your database. It's a question I can't answer, but Caitlin can. She's with Action Coach, and she's going to share proven strategies to transform your customer database from a forgotten list into a reliable revenue stream. That sounds pretty good for anyone listening. And thank you so much for joining us. We are going to do questions at the end. If you want to ask Caitlin anything, just pop them in the Q&A or the chat bar. And we are recording this so you can watch it on HREI's YouTube page after the fact as well. I think that's enough for housekeeping. I'm going to let you get right into it, Caitlin. So good to see you again. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me back. I'm so pleased to be here. I will
Wonderful.
just share my screen so we're all looking at the same thing. All right. So welcome back to those who have been in sessions with me before. I'm so pleased to be presenting this one. I think it's such an important topic for so many businesses. Genuinely a lot of kind of low-hanging fruit for a lot of businesses, added profit, added revenue at very little added effort. So it's music to all of our ears, right? I'll just give a brief introduction so we know who I am. My name is Caitlin Blundell. I'm a certified business coach with Action Coach. Action Coach is an organization I'm so proud to be a part of. We are the largest coaching organization in the world and the largest coaching organization here in Canada, and then leading the charge, helping small and medium businesses get more result for the effort that you put in and the heart and the passion that you put into growing your business. I started my first business just as I wrapped up grad school out at U of T. And as I worked on my thesis, I was noticing that there was kind of an opportunity in the market that no one else was taking advantage of. So I launched into business very quickly, printed out business cards, started kind of going door to door to businesses downtown to ask if I could come in and do a lunch and learn and talk to them a bit about what I was seeing. I took out a $20,000 line of credit to buy software. Coming straight out of grad school, that was really hard to swallow, but managed it. And against all odds, that business was a great sandbox to play in for the next 8 or 9 years. I got to do so many neat things and have lots of great opportunities. But and maybe you can relate to this, it was a real roller coaster at the same time. It was both a cash flow roller coaster, never knew what the next contract was going to be or where it was going to come from, and a stress roller coaster as well. And when I had kids, it was time to maybe turn my attention to something else. I thought I just can't ride this ride anymore. I took a job managing a local startup incubator. And as I worked with these brilliant entrepreneurs, bringing all sorts of innovative technologies to market, realized that they all had so many questions and challenges and bottlenecks in common, and also in common with me and in my experience in my first business. And I started thinking, there's got to be a better way, right? There's got to be a roadmap we can all follow that will help to build a business that is profitable, that is successful, and a business that kind of gives you life rather than sucking the life out of you. And I threw myself into learning how to build that kind of business. And part of that journey was my coaching certification, was learning everything I could through Action Coach. And I'm really pleased that I've spent the past 5 years helping other local businesses, family run businesses, incorporate those best practices, incorporating the stuff that we know works, has been proven to work around the world and across industries, so that we don't all have to do the trial and error and learn everything the hard way. So that's where I come from. That's my background. The pictures there are there. I've got a picture of my kids. I like to keep them there. It's a good reminder of the value of a different perspective. They're not actually hanging off the side of a mountain there. They are completely safe with a rock shelf underneath them. So I just take it as, sometimes when you take a step back, take a step and look at things from a different angle, you see a totally different picture. So with that, I want to also kind of thank you and commend you for taking your lunch hour today to maybe look at things in your business from a different angle, right? Get a different, fresh perspective and reevaluate where you are and what your next move may be. So as a coach, I always come in with a couple of goals. My goals for first and foremost for you today is to give you some information that you can walk away with and put into action right away, right? This is action coach. It's not webinar coach. It's not think about it coach. It's not learning coach, right? We want to give you some things that you can take and apply and implement in your business. My second goal today is to get you thinking, get you engaged, get you participating. So if that's you, if you're here live in the session, please let's use the chat box, jump in, ask lots of questions, do what you can do to make this as relevant for you and as impactful for you. Okay, this is your time. Let's use it well. My third goal is to continue to kind of support you after we close the session today. I am going to be sharing some information at the end. I'm opening up a couple of time slots for those who have registered today. You can grab a couple of sessions with me, a complimentary coaching trial. Okay, so if you want to go beyond the frameworks that apply to every business and go deeper on what is going to help your business and your situation specifically, your kind of unique set of opportunities and challenges, we can do that following the session in those 2 free coaching meetings. So I'll have some more information at the end about how to book those, and I'm sure Matt will send something out over email as well. But let's dive in. Let's dive in starting first with a story. This is a story that has nothing and everything to do with HVAC and nothing and everything to do with your business. It's the story of a farmer, okay? A man who owned a large farm with many orchards, and he was perfectly content with his lot in life until one day, a friend of his came to visit and told him a story about diamonds, about how just one stone, just the size of his thumb, would be enough to purchase all the surrounding farmland. You know, it would be enough to set him up as a wealthy man. So as the story goes, the farmer woke up that morning content and went to bed feeling poor. He, in fact, sold his farm and set out instead to seek his fortune in diamonds. And after years of searching the world and not finding a single diamond, he unfortunately ended up penniless. Sad to say, this farmer, in a fit of despair, threw himself into the ocean and drowned. Soon after, somebody had purchased his farm and was visited by the same friend who had spoken about diamonds. And the friend noticed a small diamond on the mantelpiece and said, "Hey, where did you find this?" And the man replied, "Well, there's this creek that runs through the farm. It's full of them." And the moral of the story here is that most people are sitting on their own diamond mines. Okay, the surest way to lose your diamond mine is to get bored and start thinking that the grass is greener on the other side. When business owners, when business leaders get bored, there's the potential for them to be distracted by shiny stuff. Okay, distracted by new marketing opportunities, distracted by going out and seeing what else is out there, and inadvertently sabotaging what they've created at home. What your database represents is potentially your own diamond mine, right? Sitting right in your backyard. And why is that? Because we know that statistically, the customers who stop doing business with you, who maybe purchase once or twice and then go away, they go to a competitor, they don't come back. We've got research that shows why that is. Okay, 1%. Unfortunately, they're not doing business with anybody anymore. You know, they've passed on. They're no longer with us. Another 3% or so have moved away. They're no longer in your region. 5%, somebody else maybe closer to them socially has entered the same sort of business. So they're buying from a friend or a family member. 9% are sold to by a competitor. Okay, they're somebody else's marketing resonated with them and reached them. 14% no longer kind of feel that fit with the product or the price. They didn't see the value. Fully 67% of the people who stop doing business with you, it's because of perceived indifference. And what that means is from where they're sitting, they perceive that you are indifferent to them. It doesn't matter to you whether or not they keep doing business with you. You won't notice, okay? And if you are indifferent to them, then of course they are also going to be indifferent to you. Now, I want to compare this with another set of studies that's happened on something called the spotlight effect. And the spotlight effect is a well-known phenomenon that says we think people are paying much more attention to us than they actually are. Okay, so they've done studies, they've asked people to go out in public wearing these like highlighter colored neon t-shirts, people who are otherwise potentially, very fashion conscious and would never normally wear that item of clothing. And they've gone out and had them in this kind of neon highlighter, ugly, oversized shirt. And they come back and they say, I feel like everybody was watching me. I feel like all eyes were on me as I went about my day, right? They felt so self-conscious. But then in interviews with the people around them who were maybe in the office with them or in a class with them, they realized that nobody was paying attention. Nobody even noticed the shirt. Okay. So if we put these two concepts together, what we have is a situation where you might feel this spotlight effect. You might feel like people are watching you to see what you do. You might believe that you are in touch with your database to the point that you are being annoying or you're pestering people or you're bothering people. And at the same time, they might believe that you're indifferent because they're just not paying that much attention. Okay. They're not hanging on your every word. They're not opening your every email. So what we want to do is we want to really measure the results of your staying in touch campaign rather than the effort. We want you to be in touch to the point where you feel like it might be too much, okay? Because we're measuring for the result. We want to think about, take that same group of people who have done business with you in the past. How often are they hearing from your competitors? How often are they getting emails from your competitors, seeing ads for your competitors? We want you to be in the conversation at the same time, okay? At least as often. Let's talk about why that matters. And here's another study that might be an eye-opener. When we talk about a 5% increase in retention rate, which could mean on average, people coming back just 5% more frequently. It could be, and if you have a kind of a membership program or a monthly subscription, a monthly maintenance package, it could mean people staying around for 5% longer than your average, or than they previously might have, right? So a simple 5% increase in retention rate can lead to a rise in profit between 25 to 95%, depending on the company. And that is an increase in the lifetime value of your customer lifetime value, which is this metric that indicates how much total revenue a business can reasonably expect from a single customer account through the lifetime of that business relationship. Okay, how much and for how long? So in your company, we really want to understand what is the value of keeping customers. And I think you'll find it's worth investing in. If this metric, if customer lifetime value is not something you're measuring today, it would be a really interesting one to get a beat on, right? Start measuring, start understanding what a customer is worth, an average customer. What are they worth over the course of their lifetime? And that one number can give you a ton of insight into your business. It will tell you things like, who are your best customers? Okay. What type of customer is naturally going to have a higher lifetime value in terms of the revenue they bring into your business? It will give you information about, how do we budget for marketing? Okay. How much is it worth spending to acquire a customer? Well, we might not be certain. It might not know unless we know what a customer on average is worth over the course of their lifetime. This is a number that will also allow you to make more reliable financial projections. Okay. And what we're seeing is we don't need a huge increase in lifetime value for it to have a massive impact on your customer, on your company, okay, on your profit line. What is the impact of one extra transaction per customer per year? What's the impact of an average customer sticking around just a little while longer? And it's going to be somewhere likely in this 25 to 95% of your profit. Here's why. Here's some of the numbers behind that. When we're calculating the profit in a business, we want to look at 5 key numbers. This is what I would call the scorecard for your business. Okay, the number of leads multiplied by the conversion rate. So what we're talking about is, how many people have put their hand up and said, yeah, I've heard of you. Tell me more, give me a quote, give me an estimate. They've heard something about you. Multiplied by the conversion rate is the number of them that actually do business with you, right? That actually book, that actually exchange funds, sign a contract, book a service, whatever that is. Okay, so if you have 100 leads, 20 of them convert, you have a 20% conversion rate, you have 20 customers. Multiplied by the number of transactions and multiplied by the average dollar sale. So how many times in a typical year do they come back? And on average, how much do they spend? That will give you a sense of the revenue of the business over the year. And then we also want to understand the margins. Okay, how much of that money is available to kind of reinvest in the business, or as to increase resilience, to increase profitability in the business. We know that it is easier to sell, it is easier to convert an existing customer than it is to acquire a new one. Okay, typically, going out to find a new customer, you're going to spend 5 times more than you will to retain a customer. The odds of selling to an existing customer are a lot higher, right? They already know you, they already trust you, they've already done business with you, you're familiar, they know the process, right? So the odds of selling again are higher. So we see gains kind of across the board because you don't need to waste your money marketing to people who won't buy or who aren't a good fit. You're saving your effort, your discretionary effort for leads who have already had a proven track record. They've already bought from you, right? So it's a more efficient group to market to and to solicit into your business. And there's a domino effect here, right? Each of these things affects the other. We know that repeat customers tend to spend more, right? They drive the average value of a transaction increases. The more they trust you, the bigger the order might get. Okay. There's also another factor here where, because there's a level of trust, you're not necessarily competing on price against the next company, the next competitor. Which means that maybe there's a different level of value, or maybe even you can start to charge a premium. Maybe over time prices just go up relative to where you sit now in the market, because people better understand the value that you are providing. The profit margins may well increase, right? The work gets faster. If it's a technician on site, they're already familiar with the site, they're already familiar with the customer, there's less time kind of getting set up and figuring out where things are, right? So the margins increase in that sense. The conversion rate increases. Of course, the sales cycle is tighter because you don't have so many questions, don't have so many objections that you gotta deal with. And so time increases there as well. Margins increase there as well. And then one final point is that if referrals and word of mouth are a big part of your business, right? If that's filling in the top of this formula in terms of the number of leads, right? Who tends to refer you more often? Is it the folks who have come once, done business with you once, or is it the ones who have developed a relationship with you, who trust you, who keep calling you back over and over and over again? And we know that with consistency, repeat customers are more likely to send referrals, right? They're more likely to remember your name when somebody asks if they know anybody. They're more likely to put in a review or online. They're more likely to even post about their experience on their social media, right? They're more likely to share what you're sharing on social media. So we know that repeat business also drives new leads. Okay, so it's like this domino effect where this one tweak can have wins across the board. And we see this incremental growth in all categories when we focus on number of transactions and increasing repeat business. And that's huge, because when we multiply these things together, incremental increases in each of the numbers in blue, each of these 5 ways, has a huge impact on your business. If we can increase each of these numbers, number of leads, conversion rate, average number of transactions, right? How often they're coming back, average value of a sale, how much they're spending, and profit margins. If we could increase by 10% each one, we have a 61% increase in your profit, in your bottom line. Yeah. So we want to start breaking it down and paying attention to each of these numbers because I don't know if there's anybody in the room who's not interested in 61% more profit, or who wouldn't know what to do with 61% more profit. I'm pretty sure that if that's you, you're in the minority, right? We all could use a little bit more profit, a few gains on that profit line. The people who are most likely sending in their friends, their family, their colleagues, to come and give you a call and do business with you, they're what we call your raving fans in the marketplace, right? The ones who just absolutely love what you do and tell everyone they know about you. It's a process to bring somebody up to that point. Okay, so let's take a look at the ladder of loyalty. Someone is a suspect at the bottom of the ladder if they are in your target market. Okay, they're the type of person who often does business with you. They're in the right geographical area. They kind of have the problem that you solve. They have the need. They have the authority to make a decision. Okay, so they're a suspect if they kind of are within that target market. They become a prospect and take one step up the ladder when you get their contact information. So they take some sort of action, they call you, they send something in online, whatever it is, you get their contact information, they're interested. Okay, they become a prospect. They become a shopper the first time they buy something. They book a service, they book a maintenance, they book whatever they book. They want you to do something for them. Congratulations, you've got a shopper. We can call them a customer when they are accustomed to doing business with you. Okay, maybe that's the second time they buy. The first, they come back for more. They're accustomed to doing business with you. They are a customer. Our next step up the ladder there is to make them feel as though they are a part of your tribe, right? A part of your family. They are a member of your community of customers. Let's look at some organizations that are absolutely known around the world for having members instead of customers. You could look at Apple, for example, right? People who feel like they're part of that community. They're part of their identity is they're Apple people. Harley Davidson, right? People out there getting Harley Davidson tattoos, right? They're not just a customer. There is something more. They might be your member if they keep their keys on your keychain. If they've got a logoed keychain. They might be your member if they are part of a specific group, an email group or a social media group that gets special offers and promotions. Okay, so there's things we can do to bring people up to where they feel like they are a member of your community. An advocate is telling other people about you, and your raving fan is literally out there working as a salesperson, working as a sales force, doing your selling for you. We can only graduate people up the ladder one step at a time. So when you're thinking about leveraging your database, what we're thinking about is, okay, can we figure out everyone in the database, where do they fit? What rung of the ladder are they sitting at today? And then do we have a strategy to bring them one step higher? Okay, how do we take our prospects to shoppers, our shoppers to customer, our customers to members, et cetera? Okay? And if you put as much time, energy, and money moving people from customer to member to advocate as you do moving them from suspect to prospect to shopper, right, through your marketing approach, right, your marketing budget, what would the impact of that be? Okay, like if you've got your CRM and you've got a customer list, you can go in there and you can do this analysis and do the math. What is the impact if we put the same amount of resources to take people from shopper to customer to member that we do to take people from suspect to prospect to shopper? What's the impact of that? And it's likely significant. So the first step in this process is we want to find our magic moments. Your magic moments are the kind of the inflection points in your customer's journey where you can kick in a little added magic and it gives them something that they remember. Okay, we're moving here from customer satisfaction as the goal to customer delight as the goal. And this is really important because people remember and people talk about the things that surprise them, for positive or negative, by the way. Nobody talks about a boring business. Nobody talks about a business that came out and satisfied them and met their expectations and did nothing else, right? It's not a noteworthy thing that they would go and remark on to others in their group, or that they would remember so that they know who to call next time. So we want to find the magic moments where we can move from a level of customer satisfaction to a level of customer delight. So who can do this? We know that if you are a company that has technicians out there in the field, that tech is the face of the company when it comes to the customer. Okay. The number one thing that is going to convince somebody to do business with you again is that person that they are face to face with. So we want to give your team the credit. Your team has the influence here. And if these magic moments are happening out there in the field, then how can you elevate your team to meet that moment? And that could be some training. It could be some systems and processes. It could be some scripts, right? Questions to ask, things to do. Even just knowing the customer's first and last name, using it, building that rapport, building kind of a friendly, it can be small things. It doesn't need to be huge budget breakers here. We just want to make sure we're using these opportunities, these magic moments, to the maximum effect. Okay. From there, we can talk about things. I call them the CNEs in a business, and CNE stands for a critical non-essential. Okay. Critical non-essentials are the things that they weren't expecting. Things that are not essential, they wouldn't even notice if they didn't happen. But when you do them, it makes a lasting impact. This could be something like having something you leave behind after a service, after a visit. I've seen in the fall, a residential company leaving behind a little bag of coffee with a little note saying, enjoy your cozy winter, right? Courtesy of whatever, ABC Heating. Little things that they wouldn't notice if their furnace tech didn't bring them a coffee. They wouldn't miss it. But when it happens, it's so nice and so delightful that they tend to remember it, right? That turns a normal moment into a magic moment. We want to systemize this and plan this all out so that it is a surprise to the customer, but it is planned on your end. Okay, you're ready for it. You know exactly what's going to happen. It surprises and delights them, but from you, it's just humming along in the background. You've got it down. Okay. Another magic moment might be kind of the 24 or 48 hours after a service call. Maybe it's a courtesy call at that point, just to say, hey, is everything still working well? That kind of call catches callbacks before they become complaints. Okay? It shows that you care even after the invoice is paid. Maybe it opens the door for a review or a referral. And it shows that you're not waiting for an issue to start taking care of your customers. You're out there kind of asking and making sure. Okay. So in your business, if you think about the whole journey of a customer doing business with you, we can isolate a couple of these inflection points and put in a little effort, turn it into a magic moment. It gets remembered, it gets talked about, and it helps build that relationship and that rapport. And then, as I said, from there, we're really looking to turn this into a system. A system, I love this acronym. A system is something that will save you stress, time, energy, and money. I don't know anyone who wants more stress, less time, less energy, or less money in their life. So we want to make sure that we are systemizing as much as possible so that we can save you and keep those things for when you need them. So a good system keeps you top of mind, either when something breaks or when somebody does ask hey, does anybody know somebody who does this? We want you to be top of mind. A good system drives revenue during your slower seasons, okay? Because a good system catches people with membership agreements or planned replacements so that your cash flow becomes more reliable. Your system, again, is if we identify a couple of key moments, the trick is to just kind of choose one thing at a time. Pick your moment, build a system around it, get it running, and then add another. Okay, we're looking for something that is going to be consistent, not something that you're going to blow them away with once and then never, ever do again, right? Key to this is, of course, using technology, using automations. I know lots of people using things like Pipedrive or Service Titan. Some sort of CRM is going to be critical to just staying on top of all of this. We don't want to be running it inefficiently. So some examples of a system, as I mentioned, a courtesy call sets the tone, right, that you can expect to hear from us. Okay, you can expect to hear from us because we're here to take care of you. Leave behinds like that bag of coffee, or it could be, I don't know, a lemonade bit, but a lemonade mix or a water bottle or something like that in the spring. Hey, this is for you, so you stay cool all summer. It could be another touch point a month after a service or a month after an install to see if they have any questions. Okay. This is another opportunity to start moving them onto a maintenance agreement. It could be seasonal reminders, 4 to 6 weeks before the season hits, just making them feel looked after. So you'll notice none of this is kind of like pushy, aggressive selling. We're building up this relationship so that the sale happens naturally. You could look at things like equipment, either anniversaries or age milestones, like, okay, I see that your whatever piece of equipment is now 5 years old. Here's some things you should be looking out for as it ages. Okay. Oh, your furnace is now 10 years old. Here's what to plan for. Here's how we recommend you monitor it. Whatever it is, you're the experts in this, not me, by the way. So if I've got this wrong, please forgive me. I am not an HVAC expert here. But basically, what we're looking for is ways that are natural points at which you're staying in touch. Okay. If they are on a membership plan, we don't want to let that lapse without being in touch with them. So this could be a reach out 30 days before and 7 days before. It could be something happening on their birthday. It could be something happening on the anniversary of their first service with you. It could be tied to something about the season or holidays. There's all sorts of opportunities. You can get creative with this, and you can have some fun, and you can find something that kind of reflects your personality and your values as a company. And again, you're kind of building this community feel, this membership feel, right? As a member, we celebrate National Coffee Day, so here, customers, here's something, a gift card for Tim Hortons we thought you might like. You can be in touch in a number of different platforms. So we can use email, but we can also use direct mail. We can use the phone, the good old fashioned phone, right? That's a good trust builder, nothing like a phone call. We can use text messages. We know people are opening text messages at a far higher rate. The open rate is far higher than over email. And a combination of these things, because not all your customers are going to be text message people, not all of them are going to be email people. So we want to cover off a few different mediums, a few ways of getting in touch with them. And essentially, if you're right now doing nothing and you feel like you should be doing something, set a target for how many times a year you think you can be in touch. And maybe it's once a quarter, maybe it's once a month, right? As long as you have your plan and you are sticking to your plan, it gives you something to build from. It doesn't need to be perfect. Okay, done is better than perfect in this case. You don't need to go out and hire a whole team of people who are going to be calling your database every single week. We can start with a simple kind of simple reach out 4 times a year. If you're doing things less than 4 times a year, chances are we need to up the frequency a little bit, right? Just to be top of mind so that they remember who you are and remember that they like you. Let me pause here for a moment. For the folks who are here, any questions or anything that you're taking away is what's the idea that you think you might implement next?
Just a reminder, you can hit up the chat or the Q&A, or if you want, put up your hand and we'll get the audio on here. We can do that now, so you can chat with Caitlin directly.
I would love that. Much as I like talking to myself, it's nice to talk to someone else. All right. If you do think of something, let's get it in the chat. It is more than welcome. Perfect. Yeah, giving away lemonade in the summer. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, so something a little different, a little creative, a little bit memorable, but at the same time, how easy is this, right? If you've got somebody with a bunch of little lemonade packs in their truck, it's super easy to just to give it away with a little note. Hey, I hope you stay cool all summer long. You could add, if you want to take it all the way up to the next level, a handwritten note would be hugely memorable. People still do love getting anything kind of personalized, handwritten. Something with a card that has the customer's name on it to show that this was specifically for them, can go a long way as well. And thank you. Yeah, William, having a plan of some ideas for frontline tech. Yes, they have so much ability to build that relationship with the customers. I've seen companies who even give their techs a small discretionary budget, every week, every month, every quarter, whatever it is, so that if there's a customer that they feel like needs a little added boost, they can spend their discretionary budget to kind of make that customer happy. So it could be, by the way, I upgraded your filters to the next level, which we're going to charge you what normally charge you, but we upgraded them this time because we thought that you could use that. Or it could be that you throwing in a little add-on that you would normally charge for, but in this case you throw it in for free. Just make sure you're communicating so that the customer knows that they've gotten something special and that it came from the tech, right? It didn't come from the company. It's really building on that relationship between the technician and the customer. Most HVAC technicians are introverts. I know a lot of HVAC technicians, and most of them are capable of handing over some lemonade. Yeah, you know what? It does take some training. And whenever we're changing habits or trying to put in a new system, it's like we need to tell them how to do it, to show them how to do it, to watch them do it, to give them a video about how to do it, to give them a script. Like there are some steps to put in place here if you have a team that's a little bit shy or a little bit resistant to the idea. We can talk about this after, and I can help as well, talking about some strategies to get buy-in from the technicians. Generally, what I found is that people love giving gifts, even shy people. They like giving things away and being thanked and doing something nice for people. We're a pretty social species, so if they're out there doing work and asking for money, it's nice to have a little something to kick in as well, just even if it is a very simple, low-cost item. All right, and that brings me to the idea of the emotional bank account. Okay, so we can think about all of our interactions with our database as deposits or withdrawals in their emotional bank account. So when it comes to what are we putting in? Things that have value. Okay, so tips. Here are some seasonal ideas, right? Here's how to take care of a piece of equipment. Here's what you should be looking out for. If you're working with homeowners, it could be, seasonal tips for homeowners. If you're working with businesses, it could be, here's what you can be doing in between visits. So arming them with information and knowledge. Reminders about what's coming up next, check-ins just to see how they're doing. If you're in a geographical area where you can, if you're doing business with businesses, if you're a B2B company, if you're a commercial company, showing up with a box of donuts, right? I know at least one HVAC business that has really been built of, hey, I was in the neighborhood, thought I'd pop by, here's some donuts, right? Again, it sounds very simple, but these are things that make an impression on people. Customer appreciation moments, whether that's a promotion or whether that's an event. So things like this are all giving deposits in the emotional bank account. And as the emotional bank account balance builds, now we can start making some withdrawals. So our withdrawals are things like reminding them to book their service, right? It's suggesting, a new sales opportunity, telling them a little bit more about something else you offer that maybe they have not bought yet, but you think might be a good fit. Okay, so educating them about what you do. So anytime we are trying to like asking them for something, asking them to do something that benefits us, a sale opportunity, asking for a referral. Okay. These are all withdrawals in that emotional bank account. So we want to keep the balance in the positive. If you are emailing them every single week and saying, hey, don't forget to buy this. Hey, can I have a referral? Hey, can I have a Google review? Hey, it's time to do this. Hey, can I install this? Hey, can I replace this? Of course, it gets overwhelming, right? And that's where people get this, it gets this bad rap of being pushy or being annoying or being, pestering people. Of course it does, if all we're ever doing is asking them to do something for us. But if you are sending me an email every week saying, hey, Caitlin, here's $100. Right? Am I ever going to tell you to stop emailing me? Of course not. Am I ever going to unsubscribe from your list? Of course not, right? I'm not saying that you need to go out there and give people money, but the idea is that you're giving something that has value, okay? And it keeps people on the list. It keeps people opening the email. It keeps people engaged because you're giving enough that when you do ask for something, it feels natural. Okay? So we want to keep that keep the value coming, keep thinking about what's in it for them to open this email, what's in it for them to take this call, what's in it for them to take the meeting. And as long as that's your attitude, I don't think you're capable of annoying people. Yeah. The average person thinks that they are not average. One of my favorite statistics I saw recently is that 93% of drivers believe that they are in the top 50%. Okay. We cannot all be in the top 50%. That's not the way it works. Okay. Most business owners believe that their customer service is above average for their industry. Guys, we can't all be above average. It's impossible. Okay. Our human nature is to overestimate our strength as it compares to other people. And we see this on every website, right? We are experts at customer service. We pride ourselves on our customer service. And it almost becomes, for the customer, they become so immune to it because it's just this like fluffy marketing language. And if everybody is saying it, then how unique is it really? Okay. So in order to build a real reputation for customer service, we've got to find a way to do more than average, right? To pay more attention than average, which means maybe splitting your marketing budget. So we're not just marketing to new leads, we're also marketing to our own database, right? We're putting an equal amount of time and money there. We're staying in touch. Our attitude is that, we're your expert advisor and we are here for you. Okay? We're not pestering you. We're not asking you to keep, to give us money, give us money, give us money. We're here for you as your expert. We are your professional problem solver. So that every problem that you have, of course, you're going to come to us because we are professionals at solving that problem. Okay. We cannot all be in we can't all be above average, but if you are listening to this and taking notes, I'm going to take some of this stuff away. I'm very, very confident that you can, in fact, be above average with a little, give it a little effort, give it a little focus. And with that, I'll also say this is as I mentioned at the beginning, what I would love to offer you is a thank you for being on the call today. Is 2 sessions to talk specifically about your business. What we've talked about today is kind of universal stuff that will work for any business. It may or may not be 100% in line with what your opportunity is. But I'd love to get together and sit down and chat with you about how to implement this at home in your shop. So I will say, I think we're about at time, and I'll say thank you very much. And I'm happy to stick around and take any questions or feedback as it comes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Caitlin. That's great. And please make use of that QR code. She's offering this free consultation, I believe. And she's helped out a lot of HRAI members. So make use. It's a wonderful resource. We've got about 15 minutes for questions. If you want to ask them, put them in chat or the Q&A, and we will stare blankly ahead while you do that.
I'll mention one other thing, which is that if you are anywhere near Mississauga, I'm hosting an event next week, next Friday in Mississauga, which is in person in the Square One area. And we're talking about sales and follow up there. So if this is a topic that you're interested in pursuing more, I'd love to see you in person as well. And I can share some information about that.
That's very cool. Ranjit, I hope I pronounced that correctly, put up his hand, so I believe that means he wants to actually ask a question. Are you there? Can you hear us? Oh, we got another person. That might have just been a slip. If you had a question, please put it in the chat. I've got another hand up, so I'm going to go to them first. Hello, can you hear us?
Hi. Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect.
So, thank you so much for giving me this chance. Just a question. I'm interested in the upcoming event on sales and lead generation. If you can share the information via email, or how will I get that? And second question is, I really like the webinar today about the sales and strategy. I would like to have a few more explanation about lead generation, because even though we are doing marketing, it's so difficult to find leads, and especially for HVAC because the temperature is constant changing, looking at the current scenario. So how we can strategize that, because constantly the temperature changes.
Yes. All right. I'd love to help you with that. I think that might be a great opportunity for our follow-up calls. Matt, we've done a lead generation webinar, I think, that might be recorded.
That's a great question, and let me look. Is the short
Okay.
answer.
Okay. All right.
Because we've had
Nor
a
we might
few.
have another
Yeah.
webinar that we can share that will talk a bit about lead gen strategies, but it's certainly something that I work on with many HRAI members. I'm happy to help.
Sure.
And we can set up a call to talk about that. I have put the link in the chat for the event next week in Mississauga. So
Thank
please
you
do
so
follow that
much.
link, and I'd love to see you there.
Yeah.
I'm scrambling to find that, so maybe if you want to kill sometime. Ranjit still has their hand up, so I'm just gonna. Adam asked, can we get a copy of this presentation? Absolutely, it's going to be on HREI's YouTube page very shortly. I'll follow up in an email with a link to this video and any other information Caitlin has to share. And he also asked, yeah, what date and time is the session in Mississauga? Friday, April 17th, 10 to 1. So I'm just going to allow them to talk while I look for uh, the
And
lead
Ranjit, if
generation.
you're there, if you're able to come off mute, happy to take your question.
Mhm. I feel bad. They probably just hit the button by accident. Now we're asking. Uh, so forgive me running an HVAC. We got a lot with you, Caitlin. I'm just looking through the ones that we have. Uh, okay. I can't.
It's a problem. I talk a lot.
No, we love it. We love it. So you know what? Let me get back to you because there's got to be one here. We've done a lot of great webinars with you. So Entrepreneur Masterclass, but that was 2 years ago. You know what? On a follow-up email, I will put that in. So whoever was asking that, if it's there, I'll put it in there for you.
Yeah, that was Noor. And yes, we'll track it down.
Fantastic. Okay, sounds like you're gonna be busy on that April 17th presentation.
I've been doing these once a month. These
Cool.
sessions, these Action Club sessions, they're so much fun. We have a great time. It's turned into a bit of like a peer advisory group for business leaders, as well as me jumping in with some sessions there. So yeah, super fun for those who are in the area.
Very cool.
And sounds like we've got a follow-up email coming out shortly.
Yeah, I'll just wait till give me about a day or two while this processes, and we will get that out to you. And Caitlin, in the meantime, if there's anything you want to go in that email, just follow up after this, and we'll do that.
Beautiful. All right. Well, in that case, I'll say thank you so much to everybody for spending a lunch hour with me. I hope you got some tips and ideas you can take away and put into action, because that is the whole point. So I hope we got there.
I think we did. Thanks so much, guys. Until next show. Cheers.